talked to me before this meeting. She let me know what had occurred, and it sounds like, from what I understand, you applied for the SOAR program at Sylvia, and you didn't provide enough documentation in order for that application to move forward to actually make a decision to see if you're eligible or not. Is that correct, Kim?
In order to apply for SSI, we have to have supporting medical documentation, and we don't have the medical documentation we have, and there's 853 pages, do not substantiate schizophrenia.
So that's not our call. It's the documentation that's provided that doesn't warrant that application. So we did not deny you because you're black. My understanding is, out of those 800 pages, it did not give a diagnosis for us to move that application forward. Fair enough? And then the second program you had applied for a scoring, my understanding is that you did not, based on the scoring and some of the things that are going on in your life right now, did not score high enough in order to be eligible for the program. So that has nothing to do with your skin color. That has to do with your current housing situation, things like that. So my understanding is both programs have criteria, neither which are based on the color of your skin, and that you weren't eligible for either one because of the reasons I just laid out.
Right, well, that's the problem. I am eligible for the SOAR program because I have a mental illness and also a disability, so that qualifies me for the SOAR program.
Do we have that documented?
They have that.
The medical documentation we have does not document a mental illness.
That's not what I was told. I was told that I'm having a diagnosis of major depression.
Who diagnosed you with that?
Charlotte Behavioral Health. Do you have Charlotte Behavioral Health records?
I'd have to look. I believe we do.
Okay. Yeah, well, if you want to get it, because it says it in there.
I will say this, Sylvia has a 98%, if not better, rate at success when it comes to the SOAR. So if there's anything in there that would have made you eligible, I'm sure she would have found it and put it. So you've seen the documentation from Charlotte Behavioral Health that says...
No, you all have the documentation, and that's why I asked for you all to provide it at the meeting so that we can see it for ourselves.
So how do you know that that diagnosis is in there?
That's what the doctor had told me.
The doctor from Charlotte Behavioral Health? I mean, we can look through the documentation again, but from any indication of what Sylvia has gone through, that's not in there. There's no documentation of a severe mental health diagnosis, correct?
So
That's
why are
my
they?
understanding.
So why are they giving me medication?
We can't answer that question.
Right. So anyway, the records that Sylvia has, where are the records?
Well, you had requested the records, and according to Lee County policy, a public records request, we need to provide you with a written estimate. Now, we can do this one of two ways. If you want the written documents and you want us to make printed copies of the documents, like I said, there are, Lee County requires us to charge to have them printed.
You don't have to print them. Basically, the documentation, you can just pull it up on the computer. You don't have to print them. The information about the mental health diagnosis and major depression is in the documentation, so all you got to do is just pull it up.
Okay, we can look for that.
So that's one violation.
And then you mentioned something about you were discriminated against for transportation. We don't provide transportation.
That's not true. I received transportation before, and I was discriminated against and denied transportation, so that's not true at all.
When he was a client, he was provided bus passes.
Right, when you're a client, but if you're not a client of ours, we don't randomly provide transportation to folks unless we're actively working with you on some kind of resolution to your case.
Right. So as I said, I received transportation in the past, and I had asked for the bus pass, and I was denied the bus pass by Kim when I asked her for a bus pass, which is racial discrimination as well and a violation. She refused to give me the bus pass because I'm black.
How is denying you a bus pass because you're not a client racial discrimination? Explain that to me.
I've been referred to Human Resources.
Human Services.
Human Services. I've been referred to Human Services. Yeah.
But you're not an active client of ours. Just because you're referred does not make you automatically a client.
It doesn't matter. The other thing
It does matter.
The other thing is, if you all wanted to give me a bus pass, you could if you wanted to, but you all chose not to because I'm black, and that's the violation and racial
That has
discrimination.
nothing to do with your skin
Yes,
color.
it is,
I'm
and that's the
sorry
racial,
you
and
feel
that's
that way.
and that's the racial discrimination. So that's another violation. Okay, that needs to be dealt with.
I just dealt with it. It's not because you're black.
And
because you're not a client.
No, you haven't. It's still a major problem that needs to be addressed. The other violation is the question about the referral. What is the status of the referral from Community Cooperative?
You were denied because you did not score high enough on what's called the SPDAT.
Mm-hmm.
Your current SPDAT score is 7. In order to be eligible, you need to score at a 15 or higher. And as we have explained, that's you scored higher before, and then you were incarcerated, and we go at the current SPDAT score. So
Well,
your situation has changed, so you're not eligible.
Well, you all still could have put me into the program. It doesn't matter if I scored or not because I only missed the score by 1 point.
No, your current score is 7, and the score that you need is 15 or higher.
Oh, I don't. I need proof of that. I don't believe you because Ashley had told me that I missed it by just 1 point. So I need a copy of that confirmation and copy of that referral that was sent to you by Ashley.
And we can have a conversation with Ashley as well.
Yes, I would like that.
And they've got bus passes at Community Cooperative as well and housing programs as well.
Okay. The other question is the list. I'm trying to think. With the list, I'm trying to think. 1 moment. The list. All right, so back to the score. So I'm diagnosed with major depression, and can we get information on that? The medical records.
Well, you have indicated that Coastal Behavior has a diagnosis of major depression.
Mm-hmm.
I need to find that diagnosis in there, and then I can look at it.
Or you could just, as a matter of fact, to make it easier, we'll just call them right